We're going to take you through some of the different ways of applying rules to your data. We'll start off with groups. To create a group, choose the group from the drop-down menu on the measure that you want. Check the boxes for the attribute values you want in your group and add them to the middle column. Then give your group a name, we've called ours fashion. Add the group to the groups list and finally give the element a name. Choose how you would like the group to be saved and click Save. Now the element containing your group will appear in the list of calculated attributes on the left-hand side. By adding this to the Rows tab, you'll now be able to see your results displayed in the grid with your new group. Next we'll talk about sets. To create a set, do as before but choose Set from the drop-down menu list. Again, choose your desired attribute values and add them to the selected elements column. Name and save your set. Appearing under the calculated attributes column on the left, you'll now be able to drag and drop it like any other element. We want to compare our new set with profit. This generates a clear results table displaying all of our desired elements. Moving on to filtered attributes, these are used to show us the top and bottom results in our data set. Choose Create a Filtered Attribute from the drop-down menu and choose the number of elements you want to display from the top and bottom of your data. We chose 5 from the top and 2 from the bottom. Give your attribute a name and then choose which attribute for which measure. We're choosing Geographic Customer State for the measure of profit. Save your filtered attribute. This again will give you the option to drag and drop onto the Rows tab and display the filtered data. We've sorted this data into order using the Sort button, so you can easily see that New York is the most profitable out of the top 5 states and Alabama is the least profitable out of the bottom 2. Calculated attributes are more generic and are used to express complex logic. Choose the Calculated Attribute option and it will bring up a box like this. Choose where you want it to be computed from and give it a name. We've chosen to call ours good and bad states. Next, you have to write your formula. You can use the menus at the bottom to help you compose your formula. We want to divide our data into 2 sets, good and bad, depending on the amount of profit. So our formula reads, if profit is over 10,000, then this is grouped as good, and anything less than 10,000 is grouped as bad. You can check your formula using the Check Formula button, and then save it. It should appear on the left-hand side, and if you drag it onto the Rows tab, you'll see the data is now divided into good and bad. By dragging Customer State onto Rows, we can better analyse how each individual state fits in. Next we have variables. These can be referenced in queries. For example, if you wanted to use a variable instead of a fixed number to analyse your profit. Do as you did before and choose Create a Global Variable from the left-hand side. Next, fill in the details of the variable. Give it an appropriate name, we've called ours threshold, a maximum value, a default value, and a minimum value. Now you can modify your previously created calculated attribute to include your newly created variable. In our example, just replace the 10,000 with the new variable, in our case threshold. You can find it in the menu at the bottom of the box. Then check and save your formula. You can use the variable filter on the right hand side to narrow your results even further to get a really precise overview of your data. As you change the filter, your data will automatically change with it. Basket attributes are useful for queries such as, at which unit price do we make the most profit? And as you can see, we have the data we need in the spreadsheet, we just need to create an attribute to facilitate its measurement. As before, simply choose Create a Basket Attribute from the list and fill in the details. As we said before, we want to know the unit price which creates the most profit, so we use unit price as our measure. Fill in the rest of the details. Basket size simply means the range between each result, in other words, the size of the interval we've chosen to limit the measure by. So you can see that we've set our basket size to 10, so the unit price measure increases by intervals of 10. This gives us too many results to easily find what we're looking for, so we decided to broaden them and increase the basket size to 50. This gives us more manageable data, and by sorting it, we can instantly see that a unit price between 100 and 150 is the best price and the price which generates the most profit. Calculated measures are very similar to calculated attributes. We want to look at unit price and order quantity. Create your calculated measure just as you did with calculated attributes. Fill out the name and fill out the formula. You can use the two boxes at the bottom to help you with your formula. We've chosen our formula to be sum of unit price times by sum of the order quantity. Check your formula and click Save. Drag your new calculated measure onto the measures box. The only problem with this example is that the data is high-level aggregated data and is therefore inaccurate. To change this, we need to change sum turnover to sum X so we can analyse row by row. This will get rid of any inaccuracies. Fixed calculated measures fix the value of a measure. We would like to compare the data for New York to all the other states' data in our dataset. So we're creating a fixed calculated measure for New York, as you can see here. Fill in the name of your calculated measure. We've chosen New York profit because we want to look at profit. So as our measure, we're going to put sum profit. Check the Only for Attribute box to choose from a list of attributes. Because we're looking at New York, we're going to choose Geographic Customer State. Then we're finding New York in the list, checking it and saving it. Then to find out, for example, the profit of states in comparison to New York, we need to create a simple calculated measure, the formula for which is as follows. We want to know the sum of all profit for all states divided by the sum of the profit for a New York state times by 100. This should give us a percentage. Fill in the name of your calculated measure, check the formula and save it. Drag this new calculated measure onto the Measures tab to apply it to your data. You can modify the display format of your fixed measure by choosing Modify from the menu on your fixed calculated measure. Change it to Custom and you can begin to customize your display. We wanted to add a percentage unit onto our data using the suffix option. As you can see, the percentage sign is now being displayed. This brings us to the end of our tutorial video. Bime is all about data analysis at the speed of thought, through rich data visualization, a large choice of data connectors, and dashboarding in minutes. Log on to our website to try it out for yourself and download the 30-day free trial.